Please welcome to join us to the workshop for Translators Union in cooperation with Dr. Price. Please let me introduce her with a few words. You are welcome today to attend this wonderful workshop with the brilliant Dr. Marusya Price. We are so happy to have you here with us, Doctor. Please let me introduce you in a few words. She is an English teacher, mindfulness life coach, natural mindness guide, and resource creator. She is also the author of book 101 Activities to Teach English Mindfully. After experiencing the benefits of mindful living, she completed a mindfulness course for educators and boldly used various mindful tools in her English lessons. She creates lesson plans with her own meditations and visualizations, which help the students become more mindful and learn English successfully. In this workshop, she will explore what happens in our body and our brain when we are experiencing negative feelings. In addition, she will demonstrate various mindfulness tools that we can apply in our daily life. In order to conquer these feelings, please bring a piece of your favorite chocolate and enjoy this workshop with us. Please, Dr. Price, the floor is yours and we are all ears.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. And I hope that you all have a piece of your favorite chocolate. I bought some dark chocolate with some chili peppers today. So I'm really looking forward to tasting some of it. So yes, I can see that there are 43 participants at the moment. I can see a couple of you. So can anyone see me and hear me?
Yes, all clear.
Everywhere. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So I'm really, really happy to share what I know, what I use with my students and in my work. And hopefully you will have your own insights during the workshop and you'll be able to use those mindfulness tools in your free time, in your work as well, in order to empower yourself and bring that inner calmness that we all need, especially now in those difficult times. So I'm going to share my screen with you now. It's my screen.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, fantastic. So the topic of this workshop is how we can tame our monkey mind through mindful practices. And I hope that, I know that I cannot see the participants, but they will be active and interact and write in the chat box. And this is what I'm going to ask you now, because I'm going to show you 3 different pictures. And as you can see, the question is quite simple. How do these pictures make you feel? So if you can write in the chat box. Okay, if you can write in the chat box what emotions, what feelings those pictures evoke. Stress, Hasna says. And angry, yeah, definitely. Fear. I'm not able, somebody says they're not able to see the screen. Who was that? Asma says, I'm not able to see the screen.
No,
how about the other?
The screen is clear. Maybe the internet for them.
Yeah, yes. So maybe Asma, if you can log out and log it again, or just check your internet connection, that would be great.
Yes, of course. They should do it.
Yeah. All right, so I can see that lots of negative words appear in the chat box. Worried, stress, anxious, sadness, motivation. That's an interesting word. I wonder which picture, Dana, if you can write, which picture brings this feeling of motivation? COVID-19, definitely the second picture. Picture number 2. Very interesting. Very interesting. But what I think that you all agree, or the third one brings motivation about our taxes. Okay, I guess it motivates you to fill out your tax return form. Okay, so what we can sum up is lots of negative words. So what we can sum up is that all those pictures bring various negative emotions, and you mentioned some of them, but I am going to go to the next slide where we can see various words for different negative emotions that we experience, like anxiety, panic, frustration, anger, sadness, fear. Somebody mentioned the word fear, self-criticism, of course. The first two pictures made me feel stressed, but the last one is familiar to you. Oh, that's interesting. So yes, lots of different negative feelings could be evoked in our daily life because of things.
Please, everyone, if you can mute your mics.
Thank you. So we all want to be happy and we all want to be stress-free and calm. Unfortunately, things happen in our life and we cannot control life. And that's what exactly COVID-19 has shown us. We cannot plan things anymore. So definitely various negative feelings could be provoked by things that happen in our daily life. For example, we could be running late for work. We could be running late with a project. I know that you are translators, so maybe you are struggling to meet the deadline to submit the translation. So yeah, various, or maybe could be stuck in a traffic jam. Maybe someone you know has contracted COVID-19. So obviously there are so many different examples. But now what I would like you to do is, before I reveal the next slide, can you tell me if you have noticed what happens in your body when you feel such negative emotions? For example, when you're fearful, when you're anxious, when you're stressed. Have you noticed any changes in your body? Maybe do you sweat a lot? You can type in the chat box. Red face, is my face red? A little bit, but it's very hot, by the way, here. And I really wanted to turn on the fan, but it's noisy. Lack of concentration, yes. Depressed, yeah. Stomach ache. Let's see if there will be more words. Headache. Sweaty hands, definitely. Short breathing, yes. Strong appetite. Yes, when we're stressed out, we want to eat, don't we? What happens is we open a packet of biscuits, and instead of having one or two, we end up eating the whole packet. Panic attacks. Yes, I know my husband suffers from panic attacks, so I know what it means to live with someone who has panic attacks. Exhaustion, fatigue. Yes. So I will show you the next slide, and just to illustrate what happens in our body when, yes, some of you feel dizzy. Red eyes, yes, and was actually the eyes, because our pupils dilate, our heart beats get faster, and somebody mentioned breathing, so we can start to breathe a lot faster as well. So our muscles can tense. You may have noticed, especially if you work at a computer, that you can feel a lot of tension in your shoulders, in your neck. Many people tend to store stress there. cravings, lack of concentration. Yes. Also, we can start to shake a little bit, start to sweat. Somebody mentioned feeling, having a stomach ache, maybe the urge to go to the toilet, and also our blood pressure may go up. So these are just some of the most common effects that negative feelings, strong negative feelings can provoke in our body. Yes, but now let's see what happens in our brain. And I would like you to meet your brain now, okay? And we're going to talk just about 3 different parts of the brain. I can see some of you still sending messages, headache as well. Yes, shortness of breath. Okay, so we'll start. I'll quickly introduce these 3 parts of the brain, and then I'll explain what happens in our brain when we experience negative emotions. So we'll start with the hippocampus, and as the image suggests, this is where we store our memories. And what happens is when we experience something, it doesn't matter if it is positive or negative, when this memory is stored in our hippocampus, the hippocampus also stores the feeling that particular memory comes with. So for example, if we went to the beach and you had a great time there, so next time when you see, let's say, a picture of a beach, seaside, of course, this image will bring positive emotions. You will feel happy. On the other hand, imagine that you can give an example with a beach. You went on holiday and maybe somebody drowned there. You experienced, stress, maybe fear, sadness, and of course, next time when you think about the beach, this image, will come back to you, and this image of negative emotions that you experienced, you will experience them again. The next part that I would like to introduce to you is the prefrontal cortex, which is very, very important for us. Why? Because it is in charge of our decision making. So this is where, when we decide to do something, when we take a logical decision, it all happens there. And last but not least, yes, and last but not least, I would like to talk about the amygdala, which is tiny, 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 but it has a very important role to keep us safe from danger. So let's imagine the following situation. You are walking on the street and suddenly a car is coming straight towards you. Of course, you are in danger and you want to run away, yes? So your body starts to react, maybe you start to sweat, your heart starts to beat really, really fast. And you want to run away, don't you? So what happens is the amygdala senses, so reads those body sensations, and the amygdala wants to protect us. So it increases its size, and it sends oxygen to our limbs and our torso. Why? Because it prepares us to fight, flight, or some people freeze. In different situations we freeze. So of course we want to fly. We want to run away because this car will run us over, and that's not what we want. Okay, and as in this particular moment, the amygdala will save us. So we're really, really grateful for what the amygdala is doing to us. However, quite often we imagine things, we ruminate, we go back in the past and remember that time that when our boss told us off, or maybe our child did something bad at school and the teacher was really angry, and we were asked to go to school. Or maybe you last time you had to do a translation and you were running really late, and you were struggling to meet a deadline. And now you've got another project to do, another translation, big translation. and you're feeling really nervous that, oh, tomorrow you have to submit that translation and you may not be able to do it. So by thinking about that negative scenario, so you bring those negative emotions in your body and you start to panic, to feel really stressed out that you won't make it that time, that maybe your boss will be angry with you because you are, maybe you won't make that, you won't meet the deadline. So even though at the moment there isn't a car running towards you or driving towards you, you know, this is something that you imagine, the danger is not real. The amygdala still thinks that this is a danger, that's a real danger. And what happens is the amygdala says, oh, Marusya is in danger. She's short of breath, her heartbeat, you know, has really fastened, and she started to sweat. And the amygdala wants to protect me. The amygdala reacts in the same way. It closes its eyes, it sends oxygen to our limbs and our torso. But what it also does is that it sends the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus to sleep. Can you guess why they go to sleep? If you can write in the chat box. So the question was, why do you think the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus go to sleep? Wow, the amygdala has really increased its size and it's sending oxygen to our limbs. The reason why they go to sleep is because there isn't enough oxygen. So the amygdala sends the oxygen. Remember that it wants to save us. And there isn't enough oxygen for the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. So they fall asleep. So here you are. Your deadline for this translation is tomorrow. You know that you've got a couple of more pages to do and you're sitting, ruminating, starting to feel really anxious. And you are struggling, the words, they do not come. And you see that the translation is not going right. So you're really starting to panic now. And what happens, you know that you remember that word. I don't know which language is usually translated, but let's say you translate from your own language into English. You know, you study that word, but the word does not come up. And why? Because the hippocampus is sleeping. Okay, now you want to make a really logical decision. You say, what can I do? And again, you cannot do this because the prefrontal cortex is sleeping as well. So you're now you're kind of in real danger because you may not finish that project until tomorrow just because your mind has been hijacked by those negative thoughts and negative emotions. So what we need to do is we need to, in order for you to complete that translation, you need to be able to think wise, to be able to access the words, all those words, you know, that you have learned and you know that you can use them really well, but what's happening now, they're kind of lost. And we need to wake up the prefrontal cortex in the hippocampus. Can you guess how we can do that? If you can write in the chat box. So how can we wake up the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex so that we can accent by thinking positively. The relaxation exercises, Batul Ismail says, I hope I'm reading the name correctly. Enough sleep? No, we need to do it now. We can't go to sleep because you have to finish the translation, remember? Oh, that's great, going out for a walk in fresh air. We'll be talking about nature shortly as well. Listening to yoga, that's great. Taking a shower, meditation. Oh, there were some great answers here, by the way. So first of all, let's quickly remember, why are they asleep? Because there isn't enough oxygen for them. Because the amygdala has sent the oxygen to our limbs. Yes, we need to take a deep breath and a cup of tea. Yes, so they need oxygen. And how can we get oxygen? By breathing. I know probably some of you are thinking now, but we breathe all the time, don't we? I'm breathing now, you're all breathing. I don't feel as much as that, right? Yes, by breathing. And not just by breathing, because now it's kind of, you cannot even feel that I'm breathing, okay? Most of the time when we breathe is, as we call it, we do shallow breathing. In order for us to tame our mind, in order for us to wake up the prefrontal cortex and hippocampus, we need to breathe deeply, to take deep breaths, deep, mindful breaths, okay? And some of you actually mentioned that. So yes, doing mindful breathing. Why? Because when we bring that fresh oxygen, gradually the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex, receive that oxygen, they wake up, the amygdala gets smaller, and it senses that we are feeling calm. This is what the deep breath does. It makes us feel calmer. And when we do this for a couple of minutes, then we can notice that our heartbeat is normal. Maybe our hands, if they were shaking, they have stopped shaking. And then the nervous system has obviously restored its calmness, and then we feel calm again. And when we're calm, this is when we can remember, access all those words that we studied and everything that we have learned, and we can take a logic decision. Because when we're stressed out, and I'm sure that you agree with me, when we're stressed out, then we react quickly, we make mistakes, and we cannot function properly. Okay, so in order to ground ourselves in the moment, some of you may have read this, so we need to practice deep breathing. And as I mentioned earlier on, when we breathe, most of the time when we breathe, then we kind of breathe very shallowly. But in order for us to take these deep breaths, so we can do this now. Yes, you can put your hands on your tummy, and you just take a very deep breath and feel how your tummy rises, and then how it falls. So let's do it again. So put your hands on your tummy. You can't see my tummy, but trust me, my hands are there. So put your hands on your tummy. You don't need to close your eyes. And let's take a deep breath in. Feel how your tummy rises, and then exhale and feel how it falls. And we'll do it once again. Inhale. And then exhale. And then when we do this just for a couple of minutes, then we can gradually restore that inner calmness. there are many different ways to practice mindful breathing. You notice that I close my eyes just because I like doing this, but we don't have to do this. We can do this whilst we're queuing in a busy supermarket. We're feeling stressed out because maybe there are just 10 people in front of us and we are running late. So you can just focus on your breathing. If you want, you can put your hands on your tummy. If you want, you can put your hands on your chest as well. And again, see how your chest expands and then, you know, how it falls. So it's a beautiful, beautiful way to follow the breath. You can see I've put here lotus meditation. I would like to share this with you. I do it with my students. And again, maybe something that much needed exercise. Yes. Oh, smell the rose. I'll do this, I'll show you this lotus meditation, which is maybe not a good exercise to do in the supermarket, but when you're at home, maybe in the car while waiting at the traffic lights. So it's a great way to calm yourself. So what you need to do is to imagine that your hand is a beautiful lotus flower. So the lotus flower opens. You open the hand and at the same time inhale. And when you close it, exhale. And the lotus flower closes. Let's do it again. So the lotus flower opens. Inhale. Exhale while closing the lotus flower. And what it also does is that while we are breathing in and out, and we're also focusing on the motion of opening that, imagining, visualizing that beautiful lotus flower. So we're also feeling, you know, how it opens and closes. And what it does is that it helps us to shift our attention from the busy mind, the mind which is preoccupied with maybe negative thoughts, fears, anxiety, and I don't know, panic. You're panicking at the moment, you're really stressed. So what it does is it helps us to shift the attention, you know, from that busy mind, preoccupied with so many negative thoughts, and focus on the beautiful lotus flower. You may ask me, first of all, do you have any questions before I continue? Okay, no question in the chat box, so I'll continue. But if you do have a questions, please free to drop it in the chat box. Okay. Some of you may ask a question because I noticed that some of you wrote that we should do some mindful breathing or do a meditation. So I guess that some of you have done this. And what many people actually think is, or they don't want to practice mindful breathing is because they are scared of those thoughts. Okay, and they think, oh, I really wanted to try this mindful breathing, and then thoughts, you know, one thought, another thought, and you know, I can't do it. That's not for me. So the bad news is that we cannot control our thoughts, and that's what our mind does. It thinks. Okay, but the good news is that by practicing mindful breathing and by various tools that I will share with you today, we can help our mind shift its focus. We can teach it how to shift its attention, and we can use breath, maybe another anchor that I will mention later on. So what happens is, let's say you start to breathe. Maybe you put your hands on your tummy. That is why it is good to follow, to have an anchor, which could be, let's say, the rise and the fall of your tummy, really following your breath. Stay with that breath while you're breathing out. And if a thought pops in, because thoughts will pop in, they want to say, hello, oh, did you forget that you have to go and pick up your child from kindergarten later on, and you have to run that errand? Thoughts will pop in. But what we can do is we can just let them pass by and go back to our anchor, our breath, or how we're following the rise and the fall of the tummy. Well, that is why, using such tools like, let's say, the lotus meditation, we're focusing on the lotus flower, our hand, rather than the negative thoughts. Somebody wrote something in a language that I do not speak. If it is for me, please write it in English.
She thanks you for this workshop.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. So again, another thought pops in. So let it pass and go back to your breathing. And the more you do it, the easier it will become. What scientists and neuroscientists have found out that people who practice mindful breathing, especially meditations, they have found out that the amygdala decreases, when they have been doing that particular practice for a long time, which is great. And also what neuroscience, I didn't want to go too much into science today because I really want to share more tools with you. But what neuroscientists have found out, that our brain has the so-called function of neuroplasticity. So our brain is very plastic, and we can create new neural paths in our brain and create new habits. So for example, let's go back to the example of running late with the translation, okay? So you always panic. You go, this has happened many times, so now you have started to feel panic. But how about if next time it happens, or the next time you feel anxious, you decide to breathe. And then the following say, I will breathe again. And then the third day, I will breathe again. You're very welcome, Zahra. And when we do this regularly, this turns into our habit. And what we are doing is we are creating new neural paths in our brain. So when the next time we start to feel anxious, we panic, then we'll know this will be like an automatic response to us. Oh, I can sense that my hands are getting really sweaty. I know what's happening. I know I'm feeling stressful, but I know what to do. What really counts me every time is I breathe. So I will do it again. And you do your breathing practice. What is also very important to is that, especially at the beginning, when you haven't practiced mindful breathing and you want to introduce this practice into your life, okay, it is good to find a time that it is suitable for you, maybe early in the morning. So I tend to meditate early in the morning, then later on in the afternoon when I have a longer break between lessons, I would do some mindful breathing as well. And in the evening, I usually do a visualization. And when we do this regularly, this is when it turns into a habit. Because when we haven't practiced this long enough, and when we panic, we do not know what to do. We just do the normal things. We go and eat a packet of biscuits. For example, we start yelling at our child, and they're not even, it's not even their fault that whatever, something has stressed us out. Okay. So we need to do this regularly. So find a time that it is suitable for you. And I do not see you, but I guess that you're all adults. You probably have families. And I know my son is 24, but I saw some of you are quite young, so you maybe have, children. And I know it is difficult with children, but find a time, I can start with 5 minutes. 5 minutes a day. This will be your time, maybe deep in the morning, in the evening, before the shower, after the shower. And try to, or maybe put also, use an app or reminder on your phone. That's wonderful. My sister says mindfulness meditation has changed my life and helped me cope with an anxiety. That's beautiful. Yes, that's beautiful. And fantastic. So yes, you can, once you start doing this regularly, when you feel anxious again, this is when you will remember, and because this is your habit, then it will be natural for you, and it will help you restore that inner calm. I'm so pleased that some of you have already used meditation and mindfulness in their life. Another way is by using our senses, and I am really blessed that I can use my senses, and I can see, and I can touch, and I can hear, and I can taste things. And again, a wonderful way to bring us into the present. Okay, and we'll do a very, very short exercise. You don't have to type. You're very welcome, Dana. So we'll do a very short exercise. Again, when you are feeling anxious, fearful, stressed out, you can pay attention to your senses. So what I would like you to do, again, don't type, just do it for yourself. So can you look around and just name 5 things that you can see? I can see a plant, I can see a lovely tree next to me, but I'll let you do it on your own. And once you have done this, can you touch 5 things? So 4 things that you can touch. I can touch my computer mouse and my water bottle. And 3 things that you can hear. You can hear the birds, the window is open. And there are some people at the train station. I live close to the train station. And 2 things that you can smell with your body. You put some perfume earlier on. Don't judge it. Do not say it smells bad or not. And finally, 1 thing that you can taste. And I know we're not eating now, but maybe early on you had a cup of coffee, you had your dinner. Did you taste any potatoes? Rice? You're very welcome, Farah, I guess. You're very welcome. So again, that is a beautiful exercise to bring us into the present. And why does it bring us into the present? Because while thinking about, just acknowledging 5 things that I can see and 4 things that I can touch and 3 things that I can hear, I'm not in my mind anymore. I'm not thinking, oh, what is the time? We'll have time to do everything that I want to do tonight. Okay. And I am dropped back into the present. I'm really mindful of all the senses and all the things that I can hear, touch, smell, and taste as well. Okay. You can also, you're very welcome, Umar. You can also just focus on one particular sense. So for example, quite often you can't see, but there is a lovely armchair where I usually sit and write, create over here. And I start to feel my clothes, the texture of my clothes and the armchair. How does it feel? You can just involve one particular sense. And again, what it does is it just breaks the chain of thoughts and drops my attention into the present. Okay, so while presenting me, the lovely young presenter mentions that I also create meditations and visualizations for my students. I use them to teach English. And those of you, I do not know how much time we have. I had planned for an hour, but I can say that I have, you're very welcome, Mariam. So how much time, if the organizer can just drop in the chat box, how much time do we have left?
As you need. It's
thank you. Thank you, because I really want to do something with you. So I create fantastic. And I know, because now it's Saturday, it's almost 10 o'clock now in your country. So I hope that the next activity will really calm you down. By the way, I'm right not because I'm anxious, just because it is really hot here. And I don't know about what you know about England, but in England we don't have aircon, so I can't just put it on. The reason why we don't usually have aircons is because in England it's hardly ever hot. So I have a fan, but it will be noisy. So for the sake of our calmness and quietness, I will be right, okay? You're very welcome, Corinne. So what is the visualization? This is a special type of meditation when we go on a mental journey. And I don't know if any of you teach, but what I do is I choose a topic, and for example, the English speech, and I write the script. And my husband, he is a radio presenter, but he also creates radio ads. And what he does is he adds music and sound effects so that while you're listening to the visualization, you can actually hear, for example, if an apple drops off the tree, or you can hear the steps, and you can hear the seagulls, and you can hear the sea waves lapping. So that is really powerful, and my students absolutely love it. You can find my visualizations, by the way, on Insight Timer, on the app Insight Timer, and I've opened it here. You can find me there as my name, Marusya Price. And I have also shared most of my meditations and visualizations on SoundCloud, where I am Inspirational English. So it is very warm here, so I wanted us to do something more cooling, and that is why I would love to do a visualization with you. Just before I start playing it, you're very welcome, Miriam. Just before I start playing it, I would like to, if you have headphones that you can plug in, that would be great. Why? Because it will help you. It will help you hear the sound effects and enjoy the sound effects better. If not, probably if you can close the door so that, I don't know, if your kids are playing in the other room, they do not distract you. Also, if possible, close your eyes. Why? Because in this way, you'll be able to enjoy that, that visualization. Okay, so are we ready to start? So the one that I have chosen is called Autumn in the Forest Cottage. So now I'm taking you to an English forest, and we are staying in a cottage, and let's see what else will happen there. Okay.
Close your eyes
Sit comfortably and relax. Take in a very deep, slow breath. Hold it. And then breathe out slowly. Let's do it again. Breathe in deeply. Hold it. And exhale. Notice how the breath feels when it goes through your nose, down your throat, and fills your stomach. We'll do it one more time. Inhale slowly, and then exhale. See yourself on the porch of a small cottage in the forest. You are sitting in a comfortable rocking chair. The soft cushions support your back and you feel nice and cozy. It's an early autumn evening and the sun has started to set. A light wind is blowing, and so you wrap your cashmere scarf around your neck. You are happy you're wearing the woolen socks that your grandma knitted for you. You decide to get up and sit on the porch steps. The ground is covered with vibrant, colorful leaves, different hues of orange, brown, red, and golden. You bend down and collect a few in order to make a beautiful wreath for the door. While gathering the leaves, you notice that some of them are damp because of the mist in the air. Suddenly you hear an owl hooting in the distance. Another owl responds from an oak tree nearby. You wonder what they're talking about. You remember you have made a cup of hot chocolate, so after collecting the leaves, you head back to the porch. Your hot drink is waiting for you on a small wooden table. You are eager to taste the marshmallows you have sprinkled on the top. Pick up the cup and slowly take a sip. The softness of the marshmallows and strong scent of cinnamon wake your taste buds. You feel grateful for this hot cup of bliss. You then notice the book you have brought. Sit back in your rocking chair and wrap yourself with a warm blanket lying beside you. Grab the book and indulge yourself in the fascinating story. Now let's go back to your breath. Breathe in slowly and then out. Breathe in and out. Move your fingers gently, your toes. Stretch your body, and when you are ready, open your eyes.
And welcome back. So if you can write in the chat box how you felt during the visualization. Did you notice if your
had different feelings, emotions before the visualization and after it, listening to it? Yeah, Dana says very calming. Were you able to go to that forest and enjoy that hot cup of hot chocolate? You're very welcome. Can't describe what really happened. But there is a lovely face, so I guess some positive feelings have been brought. Okay. So yes, if you want to calm yourself and go on about to sleep, please do not fall asleep. Not yet. If you want to hear some of you know, my other visualizations, again, you can find me on again on Insight Time, the meditation app, and also SoundCloud, where I'm as Inspirational English. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to another powerful way, mindful way. So I've all asked you to bring a piece of chocolate. Can we find it on YouTube? I've got a YouTube channel, and I think I've got a couple of meditations there as well. But SoundCloud, in fact, I can drop. SoundCloud is just a website, and I can drop it for you. And it is free. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to pay for it. Send it first to Insight Time on the meditation app. Okay, that's my profile on SoundCloud, and you will find lots of my work there. Okay. So, look, I asked you to bring a piece of chocolate. Why? Because we can bring mindfulness, we can be mindful in many different ways. And as you can see, John Kabat-Zinn, some of you may have heard this name. This is the doctor who actually popularized mindfulness in the Western world. He said that the real meditation is how you live your life. And we can bring mindfulness in everything we do. While we're driving, are we really focused on what is ahead of us? Or again, is our mind too busy? Whilst we are eating, whilst we are listening to someone, whilst we are playing with our kids, are we really involved in that particular game we're playing with our children? Again, we're too busy thinking about the next project we have to. Yes, there is an application called Calm, yes, which is beautiful. I really recommend it. You can find a lot of sleeping stories, by the way, there, and meditations which change every day. So yes, that's great. So do you have your piece of chocolate? Because if you do not have, maybe we can skip this one. So if you can just type in the chat box. So Corinne does not have chocolate. How about the other participants? Okay. So this is called chocolate meditation. I will do it briefly with you, but you can do it with anything you're eating, a piece of orange, the traditional meditation is the raising meditation. So those of you who have a piece of chocolate, I would like you to take your piece of chocolate and just hold it in your, in your hand, and just imagine that you've never seen that piece of chocolate before. You've never seen chocolate before, because being mindful is also about being curious, staying curious. So take a look and see if, you know, what color it is. How about the edges? Okay. Mine actually has some letters here. I can see S, E, and O, and T. Guess I think it comes from chocolate. You're drinking tea, fantastic. Okay, don't drink your tea yet. Just hold the cup. Just hold the cup and look at your cup. So look at the, just examine, you know, be curious about the cup of tea or the piece of chocolate, and feel the edges of the piece of chocolate on your lovely cup. Okay, do the edges feel different from this side? This one, for example, mine is quite smooth, whereas this one is quite rough. Okay, so feel the top of the chocolate is quite rough, whereas the bottom one is quite smooth again. So it looks very, very different. And what I would like you to do now is to bring it to your nose and smell it. Mine smells really nice dark chocolate. And it does feel tempting to eat it, but we're not ready to eat it yet. And we do not, I don't need chocolate, so that's great. Oh, 45 degrees, and I'm complaining. You probably see my screen, it's 20 degrees in England. I'm complaining. Wow, she's spoiled. All right, so let's speed up because we don't want this chocolate to melt. Okay, so we smelled it. So we involve the sense of smell. And now let's take it closer to our ear. And tap it gently and just focus on the sense of hearing. Okay. And now what I would like you to do to put this piece of chocolate, but I'll just take a smaller one, and put it on your tongue, but resist the temptation to eat it, to swallow it. And just play around, you know, play with your tongue and just feel how, you know, your buds are waking up. You probably start to salivate. So to be curious about those sensations, about those tastes, you know, that particular piece of chocolate. On those of you who are drinking tea or maybe a glass of wine, it's Saturday evening, you know, what are the sensations? How do I describe strange things? You don't describe them, we just notice them. Just notice what is happening. And now, when you feel ready, you can chew it and enjoy it slowly without feeling how it touches your teeth, your tongue. When you're ready, you can eat it. So again, a very simple activity. So next time, when you bring that packet of biscuits and you want to eat the whole packet or the whole bar of chocolate, you know, just choose the first one and do that mindful activity. Observe it, you know, you bring your sense of curiosity and look at the texture, the color, feel it, you know, touch it and smell it. So involve the sense of smell as well. And maybe tap it to see if it makes different noises, and then put it in your mouth. And just sense how, you know, at the same time, you know, we want to eat it, to swallow, but no, resist the temptation. And just like watching me. All right, that's beautiful. So, and then when you're ready, eat it. And maybe by the time you finish eating that particular biscuit, you say, that is enough. I don't need to eat now a whole packet of biscuits or a whole bar of chocolate. That is enough for me. I have felt the sweetness in the biscuit. And because you have involved all the senses, you have also grounded yourself. You have, you know, you have dropped into the present and, you know, feel relaxed. And maybe you can continue with your work and take the packet of biscuits back to the kitchen, the cupboard. Okay. Somebody mentioned early on nature, and you probably heard early on when I was introduced that I'm also a natural mindfulness guide. What this means is that I can take people in nature and bring mindfulness there so that they can feel that inner peace. Nature, and I'm sure you agree with me, that nature brings so much calmness, tranquility. When I say nature, I don't mean like, obviously we don't have the time and the chance to go in a forest or the beach every day, but when we have the chance to be really in the forest, somewhere far away from technology and noise, then we feel that inner calm, which is beautiful. And as you can see, there are so many benefits of being in nature. Some of you may have heard, oh no, I'm so sorry for her, please don't cry. Listen, when we finish, we can find maybe an apple and just eat it really, really mindfully and enjoy every bite of that apple or apricot or peach or watermelon. Yes. And, you know, be mindful. So being in nature has so many benefits, like it helps us distress, and it makes us feel happier because obviously we're not stressed out there. It helps us bring clarity, and quite often when we have a problem, or maybe we're stuck working on a project, or me maybe writing a poem, a visualization, and you know it's not working, what I tend to do is to go for a walk in the park, because just by walking and being in nature and listening to the birds, and we got a little brook in our local park that really helps me to ground myself and brings that clarity, which is beautiful. Apples are not chocolate, but they're really, really good for us. So I don't think you should be upset. And you know, okay, so, but being in nature, what is really good when we are in nature, when we want to really feel the benefits of nature, is just to put that device away. I know that we take our phones everywhere and we feel that we can't be with them, but maybe just for 10 minutes, just for 50 minutes, when you're in the local park or when you're in the nearest forest, if you just mute your phone, leave it in your rucksack in back and forget about it, so that you know you're not disturbed by an incoming call or a notification. And then start with some breathing, do some deep breathing, and also try to focus on your senses. So feel the touch of you know, the bark of a tree, pay attention to the birds, and you know, in the morning or in the evening, in the birds we can hear some beautiful songs there. What can we smell? My husband and I went to a forest yesterday, and it was long. I kept stopping and smelling, you know, the thistle, and there was a bush whose name I do not know. And maybe it can also involve the sense of taste, because I found some raspberries and wild strawberries there, which was beautiful. So he was really patient, and he knows that nature really calms me. So he allowed me just to enjoy wild berries there. And as you can see, I've written that when we are in the forest and we allow ourselves to be guided by our senses, what we can, you know, we can touch and feel it. And now in the summer, it is lovely and warm or hot in your country, 45 degrees. I cannot even imagine that. You know, maybe take off your shoes and feel the ground or feel the grass. You know, this again will help us shift our attention from thinking into sensing because we involve our senses. And now I would like to show you a very brief mindful activity, breathing activity that you can do in nature, and it is inspired by the season. It's called seasonal breathing. So by following the seasons. So what happens in spring? In spring, nature wakes up and everything feels refreshed and new and green. It's so beautiful. And there are beautiful colors in our garden and the park with roses and tulips and daffodils. So for spring, we breathe in. And then let's skip summer for the moment and go to autumn. What happens in autumn? Nature prepares itself for winter. The trees shed their leaves. And then this is what we'll do. We'll breathe out to shed our anxiety, to get rid of our anxious thoughts and fearful thoughts and our feeling of stress. So for spring, we breathe in, we get this fresh oxygen. And for autumn, we breathe out, imagining how that stress is leaving our muscles. What happens with summer and winter? So in summer and winter, we usually like in a more relaxing mode. Not for me, but in general, people in summer go on holidays and, you know, again, in winter, we're quite lethargic. We spend a lot of time indoors, maybe in front of the fireplace, reading a book, feeling really cozy with a cup of tea. So for summer and for winter, we relax our breath. So that's how the seasonal breathing goes. For spring, we breathe in. For summer, we relax. And then for autumn, we breathe out. And then for winter, we relax again. Spring, we breathe in. Summer, relax. Autumn, breathe out. And for winter, we relax. But this is when, that's a very good question. When we go back, this is what we have to remember, that we can use, again, mindful breathing, because remember we said that we're going to create this habit, and every day we're going to practice mindful breathing, or we're going to meditate. We'll create these new neural paths in our brain. So we'll know that when you go back home, yes, you're in nature, if you're really relaxed and I can go back home and continue with that translation. Oh no, the deadline's tomorrow and I won't finish it. But what you can do is, oh, I know what I can do. I can sense. You tell yourself, I feel that I'm getting really anxious again. So what can I do? I can breathe. And when you breathe, practice deep breathing or using the senses, then you can calm yourself down. Because when we are calm, when our mind is happy and calm, this is when we can actually do things faster. And this is when we can finish that project for tomorrow. And then we've met the deadline. Hooray. So when we are out and about and you have the chance, you can, thank you very much, Bashir. I'm really sorry for mispronouncing your names. So when you're in nature, what you can actually do is just tell yourself spring, summer, autumn, winter. So repeat this in your mind. If there is nobody around, you can just say it loud. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. Obviously do it possibly. I'm really aware of the time and kind of trying to speed up. So again, do it for a couple of minutes. Then maybe you can involve the senses, as I said, feel the bark of the tree, you take a leaf and, you know, see the colors and, you know, trace the leaf with your fingers, really be mindful. And again, this can bring that inner calmness. I've got just a couple more things to share with you. You may have heard about gratitude. Gratitude, being grateful is something very important, especially when things are not going our way. And then we wonder, what should be really grateful for? But one of the things is the very fact that you can use your 5 senses and you can see. And I'm wearing glasses, but maybe you're not wearing glasses, so your eyesight is really great. And so there is so many things that we can be grateful for, and I know that we all want things that we don't have, but they kind of rob us of our happiness and our inner joy and our inner calmness, because there's so many other things that we can be grateful for. What I really recommend is to have a gratitude journal. So you can do it in the old-fashioned way. So choose a notebook that you really like, or diary, and try every night when you go, before you go to bed, just to write maybe 3 or maybe 5 things that you're grateful for, and things that have happened during the day. It doesn't have to be big, you know, I wonder watery. It could be just, wow, that cake that I made today was really delicious and my family really appreciated it. Or today, when I felt really anxious, I realized how I was feeling, and then I used mindful breathing and I calmed myself down. So I'm really grateful for the fact that I was aware of my feelings and how my body was reacting. And then I was really able to restore my inner calm by using mindful breathing. Or today I had 5 minutes to meditate. The children were out playing and I had 5 minutes for myself, and I was able to do my manicure, for example. You know, I was able to relax with a cup of tea and a nice book. There are so many things that we can appreciate and write. Or you can get an app on your phone where you can maybe attach a picture as well, and again write different things that you're grateful for. What I also tend to do is, just before, when I feel that I'm dozing off, again, just in my mind, I just tell myself I'm really grateful for that wonderful workshop today, and for the fact that you know, I've shared some of my tools with all of you. And today I went to the airport to pick up my son, and we came back home safe and sound, and he also arrived safely in England today. There are so many things you know, that we could be grateful for. And last but not least, thank you very much, thank you. And the last tool that I would like to share with you is writing off. So journaling and writing our thoughts is something really, really powerful, because it can really help us distress. There is something like when you, and really, I don't know how technologically minded you are, but I'm 45 years old. And, you know, I grew up with notebooks, and there is nothing better than feeling the pen and the notebook and writing of those negative thoughts, so that they're not in your mind anymore, that they're on the piece of paper. And it is a great, great way to kind of channel that negativity onto the piece of paper, or if you want, on your computer, your tablet, your phone, and you never know, maybe you can write a story out of it. Maybe one day Oprah Winfrey says that she's been journaling for, I don't know, since she can remember herself, and some of you're very welcome. Thank you very much, Fatima. And you know, by writing those thoughts, you know, she's managed to write some amazing books. So, and talking about writing, I would love to finish today with one of my poems. Last year during the lockdown, I started writing, and my poems are very personal, but also they involve various mindfulness tools. And the poem I would like to share with you is called Mindfully Calming My Fears. So this is how. You're very welcome, Sarah. So here's my poem for you. I often feel the pangs of fear, and this is when I long to hear that I'm strong and I can fight, because I always carry my inner light. When the obnoxious chatter gets quite loud, I sit quietly and take notice of the dark cloud hanging menacingly over my head. And even though I want to curl up in my bed, I decide to take a straight posture in order to regain my soul composure. Inhaling deeply makes me feel alive, and I sense that my spirit wants to thrive. Then I gradually draw my attention to the sounds coming from every direction. I can hear the enchanting song of the nightingale, but the fast beat of my heart seems to prevail. I glance around and spot my Tibetan singing bowl, which reminds me to look inside my fearful soul. My fingers feel the solid meditation cushion, then my soft cotton t-shirt, long gone out of fashion. I breathe in again, and strong lavender fragrance reaches me and attempts to restore my inner balance. Finally, I close my eyes to connect with my taste buds and find forgotten traces of Sunday lunch and roasted spots. Breathing out, I bring my awareness to the inner lightness and happiness. Now I know the mindful tools to use when I feel the darkness is breaking loose. I can always make a conscious choice to silence this disempowering voice by turning to my breath and 5 senses and witness how joyfully my soul dances. And that is my poem. So I'm aware of the time. It's very, very late in your country. So I would like to say thank you. Any books I recommend? Anything by Jon Kabat-Zinn? Yes, anything by him. Also, there is a lovely book, and I'll bring it in a second. I Met a Monk by Rose Elliott, which is again a beautiful book, which shows how we can use mindfulness in our life. And one of the best books, probably one of my favorite books, which I actually came across a couple of months ago, is called Into the Magic Shop. And I forgot Dr. Dottie, I think, which is again a beautiful, it's called Into the Magic Shop. And find it online into obviously one word. So I'm really, really grateful as well for staying with you. I noticed some of you were leaving, so I know how late it is. So thank you very much for staying. Yes, so Into the Magic Job, and the other one is I Met a Monk. Jon Kabat-Zinn, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. So you can find my work on my website, inspirationofenglish.co.uk, on Instagram, where I share at least twice a week different tools and stories from my work. and, you know, mindfulness tools that I use with my students and in my own life. On Facebook and LinkedIn, Inspirational English, or my personal page, Marusya Price. On SoundCloud, as I say, share it, I'm Inspirational English, and Insight Time with my own name, Marusya Price. So with that,
Dr. Price?
Yes.
We'd like to thank you so much for this amazing workshop. It was really fun and fruitful.
Oh,
Dear
you're very welcome.
If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask Dr. Price. It seems like...
What's the time in your country?
It's almost 10:30.
Wow.
Again, it seems like we've got no questions. So thank you so much for this amazing workshop. And by the way, we love the poem. It was very beautiful.
Oh, but on Insight Time, if you decide to go onto Insight Time, I have shared and recorded some of my poems so you can listen to them as well. So thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. And please try to introduce mindfulness into your life, and remember to to practice deep breathing, because this will bring you so much inner calmness. So have a beautiful, beautiful weekend, everyone. Thank you very much again for joining me tonight.
Thank you again, and we look forward to more cooperations with you. Have a good weekend.
That will be lovely. Yes, thank you very much. Bye, everyone. Bye.